My name is Stephen Everly. I am running for U.S. House of Representatives in the 2nd District of Iowa, and I'm just a common, ordinary working stiff. I say that I'm a common man with common sense. I've lived long enough to see good times and bad. I've dealt with many things in my life. I am trying to reach out to the public and to our leaders about the Chinese Wuhan coronavirus. It is a monster that has been unleashed on this country to destroy our economy and to destroy our way of life. My personal opinion is that it was not manufactured, but was being studied in a lab, and it got away from them. It ended up in the public, and as the Chinese tried to cordon off the area that it was spreading so it wouldn't spread across their country, they realized if they unleashed this on the rest of the world, that they could destroy other countries' economies as they are trying to protect theirs. The Hunan province is their major manufacturing center in China. This coronavirus, and this again is my own opinion, if it is as lethal as it was in China, they could have had 1 to 2 million deaths and destroy their ability to produce goods. By allowing almost 12 million people to fly out of the Hunan province from sometime in September until our president closed flights from that part of China, it allowed this disease to spread across the United States in areas like California, Oregon, New York, where the population is on top of each other, where you have so much population in such a little square mile area. It has spread quite ravenously over this area. I feel sorry for all the people involved. And as my own system, I believe I was stricken by it and was out of commission for almost a month. Since at the time no one quite knew what it was, couldn't test for it, I was treated with several versions of antibiotics. I recovered, but I believe my wife, who had gotten this earlier in November, my son, who got it about the same time I did, my son was lucky to be sick for 24 hours to 48 hours, and that was all he suffered with. But he's much younger than I am. I'm also a person with a compromised immune system. I've had stage 4 cancer. I have been cancer-free. I'm on my 5th year of being cancer-free. I've had open heart surgery. I have had other circumstances. I'm also a diabetic. When I say all this, people say, you must really be a sick man. No, I'm in the best health I've ever been in my life. For at least the last 10 or 12 years, all this health issue is behind me. But now I'm going to tell you, even though I am in that group that could be most affected by this virus, we need to stop the insanity and reopen our economy. I beg my governor to come out and start opening the Iowa economy, get people back to work. I see my president trying to do the same thing, and some of his advisors are telling him we can't do this, this may cost lives. Well, there is one thing. Our hospitals are not overwhelmed. In fact, many of the hospitals are getting ready to furlough their people because the governor has made it unlawful to do surgeries that are not life-threatening. Personally, I think that she should have kept out of that. The hospitals, if they need help, would have asked her. Government is not the solution here. People are. They should have asked us to shelter at home, especially if you're highly vulnerable to this epidemic, and let the society continue to function. I don't think it would have cost any more lives. I'm not an expert. I'm not a health expert. I'm an electrician. But I do have common sense. We can't continue this. I beg upon my president and my governor, who I voted for, but sometimes don't think she cares that much for me, to open this state up. We have a constitution. Why are we forced to give up our constitutional rights? I can't assemble with my friends. I can't go to church, but I can get to go to the grocery store and stand in line with a lot of other people in an enclosed environment. That makes no sense at all. Now, I understand people that are immune deficient and could be suffering from this and may cost them their lives. I am not a person who takes life issue casually. I believe in the sanctity of life. I believe in the rights of the unborn. I believe that we are due our constitutional rights to be free. These governors, and our governor hasn't been quite as difficult as others, but you are taking away people's rights to earn a living to feed their family. I have one son that's an iron worker. They laid him off. Well, we're gonna lay you off until the end of this crisis. Well, he has 3 children. It took him 2 or 3 weeks to get an unemployment. He's doing anything he can, any odd jobs, anything. This is insane. These things are terribly insane. The governor has the right, based on a law that was written almost 40 years ago, in case of a nuclear attack or a biological warfare. So all she needs is the health department to agree with her, and she can declare martial law. I'm an American. Ask me for my permission. Do not hold a gun or a bayonet to my neck and demand that I follow like a lemming off the cliff. This is not what we are, never has been. I think that we need to get back to work. There is a circumstance here that the average person doesn't know. And I would encourage all the people that listen to this to Google the Weimar Republic. It's German, so instead of a V, it's a W. But the Weimar Republic started printing money just like we are right now. And that got so bad, they couldn't afford the ink to print the Reichsmark. They only printed it on one side of the paper, where it took a wheelbarrow full of money to buy one loaf of bread. if we don't curb our spending, get people back to work and earning a living, we are destined to repeat this period in history that brought Hitler to power. I'm not interested in that. I don't want a dictator. I keep hearing about Donald Trump being a dictator. He's not a dictator. Far from it. He's allowed governors to close their states down. He's made suggestions, but he hasn't done it. Now, these are things that people must understand. We have to get back to work, or we will destroy the economy and people's method of making a living. And I've been around through the 80s, the 70s, the 80s. I've watched interest rates go from 5% to 22.5% on my own house. I have seen now interest rate down to 1 to 2.5%. I'm a farmer. I understand about growing things. I'm not a very successful farmer. I'm more successful being an electrician. I still own some farm ground. I still mess with it a bit. But I can honestly tell you, even though I'm a member of Farm Bureau, I would never consider myself a farmer. I don't even consider myself a gardener anymore. I quit growing gardener when my 5 kids moved out of the house. My wife and I don't need to be a gardener, and we both have full-time jobs. We run a business. With the help of my son, I'm looking for another job. Go to Washington, D.C., and raise hell with the people that forget that they're here to represent the population. It is we the people. It seems that our elected officials forget this. I hope that you listen to this, share it with your friends. Tell them a pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, pro-constitutionalist is out here trying to protect their rights. I really hope that you'll come out in the primary, instead of voting for a marshmallow Republican or a carpetbagger from Illinois, who's a nice guy, but I've spent my entire life living in Iowa. I've traveled the world and worked everywhere, but this is my home. I get back from the plane and I'm here. I've dealt with the socialist governments in other parts of the world. They all become dictators. We are so fast heading in that direction. I hope you listen to my plea. If you find it in your heart, look up EverlyForIowa.com. Check me out. Check my background. Come out and try to support me. And June 2nd, I'm running as a Republican in the primary. Let's take common sense back to Washington with a man who knows no fear except his wife and God. And I fear God at the end of my life, and I fear my wife most generally all the time because she's a very good shot. God bless you all. God keep you who you love. And let us get back to work. Thank you.